The Senate on Wednesday finally passed the much-anticipated Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025, rejecting the proposal that allows presiding officers to electronically transmit election results from polling units to the INEC IREV portal in real time. The upper legislative chamber retained the provision of the old Electoral Act 2022, which allows for manual counting of votes and also allows presiding officers to transfer election results in a manner as prescribed by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And by the way, that's Section 60 of the Electoral Act 2022. It's still operative until the President signs a new act, a new bill into law. Now, joining us on this show to discuss the Senate's rejection of the proposal that allows presiding officers to electronically transmit election results from polling units to the INEC IREV portal in real time is Clement Nwankwo, a lawyer and human rights activist. Good morning, Clement, and good to see you.
Good morning, Ruben, and the rest of the crew. Quite a pleasure to be on this program this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, and good to have you. Now, many Nigerians are disappointed. This morning, we have said the National Assembly is trying to protect itself. The Senate has more or less modified, for pragmatic reasons, in my view, what Nigerians consider most important, which is electronic transmission, which will show that, look, everybody is involved and everyone can monitor the result. They've retained Section 60 of the Electoral Act 2022, which grants INEC discretion over electronic transmission. Now they've tampered with the timing, reducing 360 days to 180 days. Even in terms of the submission of the names of candidates, they've also reduced that. In response, it appears to concerns about timing and the urgency of what we face. Now, they are not on the same footing with the House of Reps. House of Reps and National Assembly, they are now going to take another 1 month. Maybe after they have that joint session, maybe another committee will be set up to review what they have come back with, what they will return with, and all of that. However, the basic issue is Nigerians appear to be disappointed. As an insider, because you are involved through the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center and all the efforts you have made, to coordinate civil society on this important issue. Are you also disappointed like the rest of us, or you think we have no cause to be disappointed?
I think the whole country is shocked. Disappointed is an understatement. The whole country is shocked, and I am particularly depressed about what has happened. PLAC and civil society have worked with the National Assembly. National Assembly has conducted hearings, public hearings, zonal hearings, hearings across the country, getting views from citizens on what should be included in the Electoral Act. A lot of people have researched, have devoted time. I have personally been involved at no cost to the National Assembly on a pro bono basis to contribute to the efforts that have been made. I think what is important to point out here is that the National Assembly set up the joint committees of the Senate and House. These two committees, members were exceedingly very devoted from the Senate, from the House, holding retreats, holding meetings, holding consultations with civil society. And the joint document that came out was to the satisfaction of everyone. The House of Representatives proceeded to pass what was agreed by the joint committee by and large, and it was waiting for the Senate to come to terms with the timing because everybody felt that there was an urgency to the Electoral Act. The Senate delayed making the House because it was supposed to be that both chambers were supposed to pass this on the same day and subsequently harmonize and send to the President for assent because of the urgency of it. the Senate did not do what it should do, or the Senate leadership did not bring this issue into discussion. It kept adjourning and adjourning. Finally, it said it set up a committee. That committee, from what we saw, that committee also agreed with the joint committee report. So it wasn't that the Senate, because I think it's important for Nigerians to know that a lot of the senators do not agree with what has been passed. A lot of the Nigerian senators. So we have to ask ourselves, how did what was passed get announced as what was passed? Because I know that majority of senators disagree with what has been announced as passed. So it's a question, how does a legislative house produce a document that is not in consonance with the majority of its members' position? The Senate President set up a committee. That committee met. That committee agreed in itself that what was originally presented by the joint committees was fine. This was discussed. I have never seen a situation where a chambers of the National Assembly on an issue of great public interest will go into closed session. Even in those closed sessions, members were quite firm in saying, we want an electronic transfer of results. We want what the joint committee has agreed to remain. But it seems to me that what has happened is that there is some interest. And I do not believe and I do not think that the president has given any instruction to anybody on what to insert into the Electoral Act or not. Every conversation that I've had, every discussions I've had tells me that the president has always expressed a desire to ensure that the Electoral Act is free and fair and represents what citizens want. There is no indication to me that the president wants electronic transmission of results to be removed from what has been put forward. I think what you're seeing is a situation where you have a few people who are lip reading or mind reading the president and trying to put into or extract from the Electoral Act that has been passed what they think the president would like. I don't think so. I have not heard so, and I have not seen so.
All right. Okay.
The electronic transmission of results is critical to go ahead, please.
No, you say it's critical to, you can just land your point and I'll come in with my question. You say it's critical to?
Yeah, so there is no indication that when you look at the transmission of results electronically, everybody agrees with this. Both observers, Nigerian observers, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, INEC itself agreed with this because INEC was part of the consultation that led to the agreement on a draft Electoral Act bill that everybody was satisfied with. So INEC's position is quite clear on these issues, that the draft bill that was presented in both the House and Senate, because INEC sat through with the members of the committee through all the retreats and meetings, and this was agreed. But let me also point out the most important thing with respect to what has happened. Timelines for elections are so critical. Mm-hmm. And once you tamper with any one single timeline, you destroy the entire preparation for the elections. Once you have said you are reducing the timeline for INEC to issue notice of elections from 360 to 180 days, then every other timeline in the Electoral Act has been destroyed. Let's not forget that we have a new Electoral Commission chairman. Okay. Almost half of the members of this commission will be leaving office before the next general elections. So you would have a lot of knowledge disappear when these members leave. You cannot.
All right. I need to come in now. We have such a limited time. But very quickly, let's talk about the office of the citizen. Now, even though it seems like a number of people, Nigerians, would like to see real-time electronic transmission of results. However, what we've seen pass in the Senate disagrees with that. What can the people do, since the senators are there as representatives and voices of the people in their constituents? Where does the office of the citizen come into play, and how can we use our power?
I think citizens have to raise their voices. I know that the Situation Room organized a protest last week. I believe that this will continue. I think the labor unions, citizens, the media has been doing an excellent job, even in your program. Your analysis and your comments on these issues are so very important, and it is important that this continues. What I see has been passed is really the views of those who have the power to hit the gavel and decide whether a yes is a yes or a no is a no in terms of voting. But I know that a lot of senators themselves are very aggrieved by the way the gavel have been hit on this matter. And I think that citizens should canvass that the version that the House of Representatives has passed, which is very much more in consonance with the consultations that the National Assembly has had with citizens, should be what is retained. But as it is today, what INEC, what the National Assembly has done in the Senate particularly, and this is not the views of majority of senators, I am told, what has happened is going to create electoral chaos. There is no way that these timelines that the Senate has tampered with will stand in terms of INEC's logistic preparations. What has happened is that electoral chaos will be created by these new timelines that the Senate has put out as its position.
Do we have time to fix all of this?
I think there's time. I believe that the committees, the harmonization committees, Rufai, have been created by both the House and the Senate, and there will be a meeting of that harmonization committee on Tuesday next week. We believe that if both committees are able to harmonize, then there's enough time. But like Ruben said at the beginning, there is a subsisting electoral act. INEC should proceed to issue notice of elections, because last time elections held in 2023, it was in February, and INEC still should, in fact, acting on the basis of existing law, proceed with issuing its notice of elections, which says 360 days.
Well, thank you very much for your time with us, Mr. Clement Nwankwo. Definitely a conversation that is only just beginning and will continue in the next few hours, few days by stakeholders.